Welcome and thank you for joining us. You're listening to the Beyond 50 radio program. I'm Daniel Davis. On our program today, we're going to be talking about something that starts out to sound very basic, but probably you might come to see that it might be a little more complex than we thought it was at first, and that is our drinking water. This day and age, I'm sure we've all heard stories about how a lot of the pollutants and nasty little things that get in water just don't seem to be serving our body well as people become sick or they're just kind of having poor health and they don't have the energy that they need. On the program today, we're going to be talking about what we can do about that. And that filtered water, well, there's a little more to the process than one might think. On the program today, we'll be talking about what is known as alkaline antioxidant water. I'd like to welcome to the Beyond 50 radio program today our guest, Ms. Teresa Bright. Teresa, thank you for joining us here on the Beyond 50 radio program.
Hi, Dan. It's my honor to be on your show.
Well, it's wonderful to feel honored. Now, antioxidant alkaline water. Now, this seems kind of new to me. What's this all about, actually?
Well, it's not just new to you. Most people haven't really heard of it. So I really made it my mission in life to get the word out about what's really called ionized or restructured water. And what that means is the water is run through a machine that applies electricity, which is the process of electrolysis. And when the water is electrified like that and runs over plates that are titanium, that are coated in platinum, the water can actually be restructured in three very significant ways. So the water, once it comes out of the hose, is now a high pH or alkaline. It's also going to be a very powerful antioxidant. And thirdly, it's super hydrating. It's more hydrating than regular water by about 6 times.
Now, we hear about why antioxidants are important, but tell us, with water, what is this all doing for us?
Yeah, that's a very good question. So, antioxidant is something that is going to help neutralize free radicals. And to me, this is the most powerful aspect of the water, is its ability to go in and neutralize free radicals and basically do some cellular repair. So what happens is our bodies over the years, we're kind of through stress and eating the wrong things, drinking the wrong things, we get a lot of cellular damage. And what happens is the tissues and cells, this damage is kind of like rust on the membrane of your cell. Your cell membrane becomes kind of thick and sticky, and now it's not working very well. Mm-hmm. It's not allowing nutrients in very well. It's not allowing acid waste out. And you get a lot of acid buildup, and that can lead to disease. And so when the water goes through the machine, a little bit of chemistry here, Dan, but let me break it down for you just a little bit if I can. When the water goes through the machine, it's going to go through some chemical processes. The electrolysis is going to start this action of breaking down the minerals that are occurring in the water, and the minerals kind of amplify the electricity, you might say, to where at a certain point then you're going to be able to break the oxygen and the hydrogen apart. And so you've got that going on. Now you've got some active hydrogen ions in there. You've got this oxygen that's going to come out. And with enough electricity, you will also be able to pull a negative electron off of the hydrogen. Hydrogen's only got one electron. It's going to have a negative charge. And now when the water comes out, you've got H2O, you've got some H, you've got your O, you've got these negative electrons. That's the beauty of it. The negative electrons, when they go into your body, are going to search out, and they're going to want to marry up with another electron, and that'll be these free radicals that have the positive charge, thereby neutralizing those free radicals. And when you start that process, then you'll see that, things start happening in a very positive way, and sometimes very quickly.
Well, it seems to me that you turn water into a biotechnical engineering effort. I listen to all this and I go, well, so whatever happened to the old-fashioned tap water?
No, you're right. That was a lot of chemistry, and I apologize for that.
It certainly is. I mean, it makes it interesting, but, again, when we take something as basic as water and we take a look at what you're just now talking about, you kind of start turning on your tap water and thinking about things differently now.
Yeah, you really do. People tend to think of water as just being water. And they think of, well, maybe it's got some chemicals in it that aren't very good for you. Maybe it contains bacteria or this kind of thing. But they don't really think about other aspects of the water. For instance, is it oxidative? Well, most tap waters are pretty oxidative. And these bottled waters that we're drinking, they're not any better. They're oxidative as well. So they're actually doing cellular damage. Some more than others, A lot of things have been happening to that water before it gets to your home. It's been, chlorine's been added to it, and usually they've got to add something like lye or chloramines to bring the pH up when it comes to your home. This water has been pretty processed by the time it gets to your house or in a bottle. And this is kind of actually taking it back to what I would call a more natural state. When they look at why, like say the Hunzas, live so long, well, they're drinking water out of a glacier that, it's coming out, it's pure, it's going over rocks, it's picking up minerals, it's going to a vortex, it's going to be high pH, these kinds of things. And these people live a long time because the water they're drinking is substantially different than the kind of water that we're drinking. That's if you're drinking water at all. There's a lot of people who don't want to drink water.
Right. Now, here's the thing, Teresa, as we're talking about this here. You go into stores today, and there are certainly plenty of water filters that are available in the stores. You're talking about something, though, that's obviously a lot more than that. So let's talk about what the difference is between filtering water, and obviously you've shared quite a few differences of what you're talking about here.
Right. Our machines have a filter on them, right? It's a pre-filter. So it goes through a filter that's similar to a filter that you would buy and put under your sink, and it takes out the chlorine, and maybe some of them are sophisticated enough to take out fluoride, but most of them aren't. They'll take out some sediment, some particles, and things like that, right? But this goes way beyond that. This is taking it to a whole nother level using electrolysis. So it is kind of a completely different process where you're really restructuring the water in ways that we normally don't even think of.
Mm-hmm. Now, from what you're saying, too, that if we just go about everyday business of going and pouring water out of the tap and even going to the next level of even filtering the water through basic filters that we may get through stores, that perhaps we're just not being hydrated. I mean, we may drink the 6 or 8 glasses that we're being suggested to drink every single day, but we're still not as hydrated as we need to be. What's important about that?
That's an excellent question. It's really important, actually. The way that water comes to us, in our tap, is generally speaking, the water is going to be held together in clusters of molecules, okay? And generally speaking, it's going to be clusters that are 10 to 13 molecules. So that might be kind of a gobby sort of a way to hold them together, and you drink it, and a lot of it basically goes right through you. Now, when you take and you ionize water and you restructure it, it comes out more hydrating because we've broken that down as well. So instead of the water being held together in clusters of molecules 10 to 13, now it's 5 and 6. And it's hexagonally shaped. And so it's just quite a bit more penetrating to your cells. So you are hydrated in a way you probably haven't been for a very long time. And people kind of underestimate the role of hydration in our bodies. When we're born, we're hydrated to the point of like being about 90% hydrated, and we're also slightly alkaline, that kind of thing. And as you get older, you just kind of get more and more dehydrated to the point where, as an adult, maybe you're 75% water as an average. people really underestimate that. Your lungs need to be about 90% water. Your brain needs to be about 90% water, these kinds of things. So it's very important that you keep yourself hydrated properly, but it's very hard to do when you're drinking kind of normal tap water because it's going to go through you.
Mm-hmm. Now, Teresa, why did you get involved with all this? What was going on?
Well, I had been a mortgage banker for 25
there's a good reason for getting involved in something else.
Yeah. And, the industry was changing, and I guess I was ready for a change. And I had been hearing about this water through the Chamber of Commerce. And actually, one of my previous clients was selling a machine. And I thought, gee, it sounds too good to be true, but the more I heard, I was hearing all kinds of testimonials from people in the chamber, this or that happened, And finally, I kind of bought one, and I thought, well, what the heck? Let's just see what happens. And I didn't really feel anything. But my husband had a lot of inflammation issues, and trigger finger being one of them. And within days of finally starting to drink the water, this was after he called it snake oil. He finally said,
everything's snake oil till it works, right?
Kind of. Yeah, he did, and boy, we've just seen such a remarkable recovery with some of his health issues after he started that, and I started to research into it a little bit and really find out what's going on here. And when I realized what the benefits and the potential was, I said, I need to really make this my mission, to bring this message to, Americans. Now, this has been around for 30 years in Japan. Okay, they actually make the machines that we market. And the Japanese have these in 250 of their hospitals, some of them in every single room. It's endorsed by their geriatric association there. It's a licensed medical device in Japan. There's probably one in every 20 houses in Japan. And here it's relatively unknown and really kind of scoffed at a little bit. But there's some real science behind it, and a lot of it's just educating people.
Mm-hmm. Now, since you've been involved, I take it that with cleaner water, with more ionized water, as you were talking about, because it sends in, positive ions attached to free radicals, which that sounds pretty good, that this is really beginning to make a difference with how people feel and what they experience. Tell us more about that.
It really makes a big difference, especially for people that are already to the point where their cells are so oxidized that in one way or another their weakest system is, now in more or less a diseased kind of a state. And I need to maybe say here that I want everybody to know that, I'm not giving out medical advice. These statements have not been reviewed by the FDA. And, of course, if you have a medical condition, you should seek medical advice. But
not that we really pay too much attention to what the FDA says, but anyway, take a shot.
Yeah. I have seen remarkable things. And, of course, one of the easiest things is when you give this water away to, say, a person with diabetes, and they're checking their blood. Now they have something to basically show that something's happening for them, and you'll see their blood sugar start to normalize fairly quickly. A lot of people will just simply sleep better or have more energy or lose weight. I've even seen some cancer patients. I've given water to a gentleman over the last summer who had leukemia, and he gets his blood tested every 90 to 120 days, and over the summer he went into remission with leukemia.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't seem to matter what it is because water is global. All your cells need it. We all have oxidation or rusting going on our cells, and this seems to be pretty global.
That's pretty impressive. I can see where, first of all, just using the common sense of what you're talking about is that we actually become more truly hydrated than we would through normal processes. That alone allows cells and allows the body to purge toxins that just seem to be remaining stuck, that we never seem to get rid of. That there alone would just have tremendous health benefits, it would seem.
That's correct. One of the biggest benefits of drinking ionized water is that it is a detoxification agent. And what happens is, when your body reaches a good state of hydration and it becomes detoxified and those kinds of things, it can basically reach a state of homeostasis. It balances itself. Your body's a miracle. I mean, it's a complete miracle what it can do, especially after we treat it so badly sometimes.
Exactly.
But, it can balance itself when we do give it the right things. And so it's not, we can't say that the water does anything, but the body is able to heal itself when it's been given the right tools.
Fascinating stuff. And since you've been involved with, it sounds to me like educating people to try to make better choices for themselves, how has that benefited you?
I feel I have more energy. I can say one thing for sure. I had a skin condition on my chest, and it's a form of keratosis. Supposedly they never go away. And about a year after drinking the water, I noticed that skin condition had completely cleared up. And I was told by an OHSU physician that it doesn't ever go away. And I thought to myself, okay, if this is going on my skin, what's it doing inside of me? What kind of cellular repair was going on in other tissues and organs, etc.? So I feel very good. I don't have any major health complaints. I can't say as I was one of those people that had some sort of miraculous sort of a feeling, but boy, I'll tell you, I meet a lot of people who will drink this water and they'll say, oh my gosh, I can just feel it. I can feel myself lifted. I can feel my energy changing almost immediately. Not everybody. I'm not one of those people.
Yeah, for some it takes a little bit longer than others.
And some people are more sensitive than other people, too, I've given this water to people that have had cancer, and maybe they've, been through all their treatments, and then maybe they're in recovery, etc. But maybe they never really got that level of energy back that they once knew. And they'll drink a few glasses of this and go home and drink, more, and they'll say, oh my gosh, I've slept like a baby, and I woke up with an energy level I haven't known in years.
That sounds very exciting.
Yeah, it's fun.
Now, let's talk about autoimmune disease.
Yeah, that's an interesting subject. Kind of the way it's been explained to me is that your individual cells, the membrane of the cell, is basically almost like a brain of the cell. So what does it do? It receives signals, it's got receptor sites, and it sends out signals, right? And one of the signals that your cells send to your other cells is that, hey, I'm a part of you, right? And so when your immune system isn't working, your cell has become so damaged that your body doesn't recognize it anymore. And what's it going to do? It's going to attack it. And Western medicine is going to say, oh, you've got an overactive immune system. What we should do is tamp that down by, some drug of some sort. But on the other hand, think about this. What if you just simply gave it what it needed to start that process of cellular repair, and now that cell membrane, all those receptors and all of the messaging that it's taking in and giving out starts working again, and your body recognizes it. Now it can stop attacking itself.
Teresa, that makes a lot of sense considering for those listeners out there who have tuned in with us over the last many years, especially as we talked about cellular memory and cellular biology. For instance, one of the experts we've had on our program, Dr. Bruce Lipton, talking about the biology of belief. And this is someone that started with some cell research back in the 1960s and evolved to what he's doing today, which is to talk about how cells and cellular memory, stay with us until they are changed at the core level of the cellular level.
Yes.
And one of the things that was really important to note about that is because our cellular walls are hydrogen, so to speak, that the reason for that is that they conduct energy or electricity because we're bioelectric, so to speak.
Yes.
I can see what you're talking about. You've got this damaged cell, so basically its power station, in other words, its electromagnetism, it's not so magnetic anymore, which would make it a very sad cell in light of Valentine's Day. Just no magnetism going on there whatsoever. You know, and to go in there and to bring or introduce a pharmaceutical approach to this, which could possibly further shut down other little power stations, and again, I'm not a scientist, and this is just a guess that I'm taking, you could see how the body would then no longer be able to effectively communicate with itself due to its lack of salience, I would say.
Yeah, I think that's a really good explanation, and I've read Bruce's work and Candace Pert as well, you know, and they're basically on what I would consider to be the right track, you know, and they probably started the conversation about how these cell membranes need to be in perfect working order, you know, for your body to work perfectly. So
fascinating stuff. Now, I understand that this isn't the only type of ionizing machine that is out there, but what do you think really sets it apart from what other people may say? You know, as they listen to this, they say, maybe I might want to think about going out there and finding something that ionizes my water, you know, that boosts its alkaline level. Yeah. Tell us about what's out there and how this sets itself apart.
Right. Well, with a few basic parts, somebody could throw together a machine that can change the pH of water, okay? Just a little bit of electricity and a piece of metal, even stainless steel. You can change the pH of water. And if that's all you wanted to do, you could have one that costs as much as a toaster, right? But if what you want to accomplish is getting all of the benefits of the antioxidants, if you want to pull the hydrogen off of the oxygen and get that negatively charged electron off, you will need substantial amounts of electricity as well as substantial amounts of platinum, okay? And this is really the secret. You know, Dr. Carpenter, Dave Carpenter, went to Japan, saw these machines in action in a training that he got, and came back to the United States, and he wanted to give this kind of water to his patients and bring this, you know, information back. And so he started buying ionizers, and he bought what was available at the time. They were ionizers that would change the pH of the water, and they might claim that they would pull off the antioxidants, but what he saw was that his patients weren't getting what these Japanese patients were getting. And so he tried, I believe it was 7 different ionizer brands. And about that time, the Japanese came to America. That's the Enagic company, and they brought their water ionizer over. And then he tried that ionizer. And he realized his patients were getting something that they had not been getting with these other ionizers that really didn't have very much in the way of platinum plates or enough electricity. A good ionizer is going to work much like a hydrogen fuel cell, okay? Because a hydrogen fuel cell, what does it need? It needs platinum and a lot of electricity. Platinum is the catalyst to pull that negatively charged electron off of the hydrogen. And in the case of a hydrogen fuel cell, then that electron's going to go up a wire and become electricity. In the case of an ionizer, it comes out with H2O, and you know, and now it's going to neutralize free radicals. But you've got to have all these parts in the right amounts, or you're just simply getting high pH water, which isn't going to do that much for you.
Now, I just imagine that as this is doing this for our bodies, which sounds pretty phenomenal to me, what else it might be doing for the other uses that we actually have water for?
Well, our machines are set up to make the extremes of pH. So it will make a 2.5 pH water, and basically a supercharged acid water, and an 11.5 water. And these have their own specific uses. So this super high acid water, 2.5 pH, is now a very oxidizing agent. It's the same acidity level almost as your stomach acid. It will kill bacteria. It will kill MRSA, E. coli, salmonella. And so now you have all these uses for that. And, maybe you're going to put it in a little bottle and use it as a hand sanitizer. If you have staph infection on your skin, it can be treated. I've used it in my mouth. I've gargled with it. I've used it before a cold comes on, to kill bacteria in my throat. You can brush your teeth with it. You can use it to disinfect your toothbrush. One of the more beneficial uses, though, is to clean your food. For instance, at Thanksgiving, I ran a big jar of the 2.5 water, and I poured it over my turkey before I cooked it. And if there was any possibility that any salmonella or E. coli was lurking anywhere, I had a chance to kill it.
Boy.
So you would use it on any raw meats. There was a big salmonella scare a few years ago with spinach. Maybe you want to take your spinach and wash it through some 2.5 water before you put it in your salad, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of uses for that. But it's a fantastic wound healing liquid. Now, in Japan, they have these machines, and they are using them extensively in burn units. They're treating people that have a major burn with this 2.5 water to make sure that they don't get infections. They're using them in their diabetes units for people that, let their diabetes get out of control and now they've got sores on their feet or whatever. They will treat their sores with this 2.5 water. They also use it to clean their ORs, their operating rooms.
Mm-hmm.
So it's got a lot of uses. Once you have one of these machines in your home, it becomes your most used appliance.
Sounds groovy.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, it sounds like a lot of fun. Teresa, is there a website people can find out more in case they want to ask further questions?
Yes. My website is tryantiagingwater.com.
Tryantiagingwater.com. That's all one structure. I'm taking it right there. Very good.
tryantiaging.com.
Teresa Bright is our guest. For the Beyond 50 listeners out there, be sure to visit us at her website. And Teresa, thank you so much for joining us here on the Beyond 50 radio program.
Dan, it was my honor. Thank you so much for having me on.
You betcha. We want to thank you, the listeners out there, for tuning in. If you didn't get that website, then simply visit us at beyond50radio.com. That's the number 50. We do have a free weekly e-newsletter. We'll have a post there, and we'll be posting this website link as well. So that way you can take care of what you need about cleansing your body and feeling that energy we've been talking about today. This is Beyond 50. I'm Daniel Davis. Thank you for tuning in, and remember, live your day past halfway.